Hey, what's good? So they're doing some artwork, some kind of street art graffiti stuff right in front of my building, and I went out to get some groceries. And on the way back, I was like, you know what? Let me ask these dudes if they'd be down to do a little portrait shoot because it looks really cool. There's a lot of colors, all the cans are out there. It's just like a nice kind of vibe and scene. So I asked them, they complied, and they're leaving pretty soon. So luckily I live right here. I went and grabbed this stuff right here, Pentax, 2 lenses, got some Cinestill 800, and let's go. What is good? Welcome back. It's your man Rib. So it's been quite the week. As you saw in that intro to the video, I was kind of journeying around the city here in my neighborhood in Brixton, and under one of the archways there's this beautiful graffiti thing being set up. And last time this happened, I have a huge regret because the artist was there doing the artwork and I wanted to get his photo, but I had my camera in my bag and it wasn't loaded and I was in a rush, so I didn't even ask. This time the same artist was doing yet another mural, and I decided I had to go ask him this time. So on my way home, as you saw, I grabbed my Pentax 6.7, came back downstairs, and then said, hey, can I get some shots? And of course they complied. You know, they wanted to show some love. And I took a bunch of pics, and I really love how they turned out. It was nice to kind of move around the scene and kind of pretend to be like a, an editorial kind of portrait photographer. I treated this as if it was for a publication, so I kind of got some portraits of them working, and then also just kind of some portraits that showcase the scene and kind of looked at the different tools and the different components of what goes into a graffiti like design like that. There was one specific photo that I absolutely loved, and I actually printed it, and this is this one right here. And this one right here is basically just a portrait of the 3 of them, but I got fairly close up with the wide lens, and it's just awesome. I'm close up to them, you can see detail, you can see their expressions, they look like such badass artists. And then behind them you got the really cool artwork that they're doing, and it says Brixton. And the interesting thing that's in this photo is that face right there, that's the face of a local rap musician that died last year, and he's been memorialized a couple times across the neighborhood with a couple different murals. So he actually makes it into this one, and in this photo, it's almost as if he is also part of the portrait. You know, he kind of has his head in between these 2 right here, and that wasn't intentional, I'll admit. But after I realized that, when I was looking at the negatives, I was so happy that happened, and it just adds this extra touch to it. You know, he's kind of watching over them and watching over the neighborhood throughout all the murals that he's featured on. So I really love how this turned out. So there's another reason why this week was busy, and I actually got married. Interestingly enough, yeah, we did a quick civil ceremony here in London, and it was awesome. Can't really ask for anything more. And I didn't do my own photos for the most part. My witness, which is also one of my friends, had my digital camera, and he took most of the photos on the digital camera. But I did specify that I was going to bring this right here, my Pentax 6.7, and we were going to have a picnic in the park. So I picked one section of the park where there's this beautiful garden, and that's where I was going to shoot one roll on this Pentax 6.7, take it or leave it, whatever I got, I got. And I'm really happy with what happened. Basically, the photos that I wasn't in, so photos of my wife, of her alone, I took myself with this camera. And then the photos that feature both of us, I actually basically, we stood where the photo was going to be, and then I would grab this camera, go in front of the scene. I would basically set up my composition, look through the camera, figure it all out. And then I would tell my friend, all right, stand here, hold the camera, and capture this exact scene as I have it. I would dial in the settings too and everything. All he had to do was do focus. And focus could be pretty challenging because I actually had the 105 lens for a couple of these photos. So, at 2.4 wide open, which is exactly what I wanted to do for this particular shoot, it could be challenging to focus. Fortunately, there was no horribly missed focus. A couple were kind of soft, but not to the point where the photo was ruined. and then the other ones were just perfectly sharp, or at least as sharp as you can get at 2.4 with this lens. So I was very happy with how that turned out. And you know, this is actually one of my favorite images here. This is one that I took, and that's a photo of my wife standing in kind of a little pathway surrounded by a lot of trees and greenery. This garden's amazing. It's built like very English style, so there's some really tall hedges. It's almost like a maze in certain regards. And then there's all these beautiful trees that are finally blooming because the weather is really nice here and it's starting to get warmer, and obviously we're gonna move into summer in probably a month or two. So really loving how this turned out. This print was a bit challenging. This is Cinestill 50D, which is not my ideal choice when it comes to portraiture, but it was extremely sunny that day, no clouds, and I wanted to shoot wide open with this lens. So my original plan was to use Fuji 400H, and obviously if I used that, then I couldn't shoot wide open. So I pulled an audible last minute, put in some Cinestill 50D, and that gave me, you know, the perfect ability to shoot this. I would have liked to use maybe Portra 160 or something, maybe overexposed by stop, but I didn't have any, so that's just what it is. But you know, you get kind of that semi-cross process look. The colors are not, you know, incredible as I would want them to be for this particular shot, but I still think it looks great. And you know, it is what it is. I still like the end output here. And of course I got a couple other photos, you know, I can show you right here. These photos are basically, like I said, I only shot one roll and there was a total of 10 photos. So these are some of my favorite ones. And it was an interesting experience, you know, kind of directing my own photo shoot, even though I wasn't the one shooting it with the camera myself for the shots that I was in. So it was very interesting to do that, but I think it worked out. I really liked kind of the shot at the end of the day. And most of all, I just wanted something physical in terms of photography. I wanted negatives that I could have forever, you know. These are negatives I'm gonna keep for the rest of the time. And you know, the digital photos look great. I love them. They're easy to share, but ultimately, you know, having the negatives is something that I really, really cared about. All right, y'all, that's it for this week. You know, I'm kind of getting back into the groove of YouTube, but I had to focus on some other things, of course. As you saw, I was getting married, but definitely got some more videos coming up. The weather's nice. Lockdown has officially ended, or at least a stay-at-home order. And now I can go outside and meet up with more people and kind of do some fun things. So really looking forward to seeing, you know, what I get into. And of course, I'm gonna document some of that stuff for this channel. All right, please go ahead and like the video if you did. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Till next video, y'all, I'm out.